Chapter 11. Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of a harlot. And Gilead begot Jephthah. And Gilead's wife bore him sons, and when his wife's sons grew up, they drove out Jephthah, and said unto him, You shall not inherit our father's house, for you art the son of another woman. And then Jephthah fled from his brethren, and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there were gathered vain fellows, and Jephthah and they went out with him. And it came to pass after a while that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. And it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob. And they said unto Jephthah, Come and be our chief, that we may fight with the children of Ammon. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, Did not you hate me, and drive me out of my father's house? And why are you come unto me now, when you are in distress? And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, Therefore are we returned to you now, that you mayest go with us, and fight with the children of Ammon, and you shall be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, If you bring me back home to fight with the children of Ammon, and the Lord deliver them before me, I will be your head. And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, The Lord shall be witness between us, surely according to your word so will we do. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and chief over them. And Jephthah spoke all his words before the Lord in Mizpah. And Jephthah sent messengers unto the king of the children of Ammon, saying, What have you to do with me, that you art come unto me to fight against my land? And the king of the children of Ammon answered unto the messengers of Jephthah, Because Israel took away my land, when he came up out of Egypt, from the Arnon even unto Jabbok, unto the Jordan. Now therefore restore those cities peaceably. And Jephthah sent messengers again unto the king of the children of Ammon. And he said unto him, Thus saith Jephthah, Israel took not away the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. But when they came up from Egypt, and Israel walked through the wilderness unto the Red Sea, and came to Kadesh, then Israel sent messengers unto the king of Edom, saying, Let me, I pray you, pass through your land. But the king of Edom hearkened not, and in like manner he sent unto the king of Moab, but he would not. And Israel abode in Kadesh. Then he walked through the wilderness, and compassed the land of Edom, and the land of Moab, and he came by the east side of the land of Moab, and they pitched on the other side of the Arnon, but they came not within the border of Moab, for the Arnon was the border of Moab. And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, the king of the Amorites, the king of Heshbon. And Israel said unto him, Let us pass, we pray you, through the land unto my place. But Sihon trusted not Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together, and pitched in Jahaz, and fought against Israel. And the Lord, the God of Israel, delivered Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they smote them. So Israel possessed all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that country. And they possessed all the border of the Amorites, from the Arnon even unto the Jabbok, and from the wilderness even unto the Jordan. So now the Lord, the God of Israel, hath dispossessed the Amorites from before his people Israel. And shouldest you possess them? Wilt not you possess that which Chemosh your God gives you to possess? So whomsoever the Lord our God hath dispossessed from before us, them will we possess. And now art you anything better than Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever strive against Israel, or did he ever fight against them? While Israel dwelt in Heshbon and its towns, and in Aroer and its towns, and all the cities that are along by the side of Arnon, 300 years. Wherefore did you not recover them within that time? I therefore have not sinned against you. But you doest me wrong to war against me. The Lord the judge be judge this day between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. Howbeit, the king of the children of Ammon hearkened not unto the words of Jephthah, which he sent him. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah of Gilead. And from Mizpah of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, If you will indeed deliver the children of Ammon into my hand, then it shall be that whosoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, it shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hand. And he smote them from Aroer until you come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto Abel Keramim, with a very great slaughter. So the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances, and she was his only child. Besides her he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes, and said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you are become my troubler. For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. And she said unto him, My father, you have opened your mouth unto the Lord. Do unto me according to that which hath proceeded out of your mouth. For as much as the Lord hath taken vengeance for you of your enemies, even of the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone for 2 months, that I may depart and go down upon the mountains, and bewail my virginity, I and my companions. And he said, Go. And he sent her away for 2 months, and she departed, she and her companions, and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow which he had vowed. And she had not known man. And it was a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite 4 days in a year. Okay, let's go back up here to verse 1. Okay, if we remember where that last chapter left off, is the children of Ammon have crossed over Jordan, and they're fighting with Judah and Ephraim and Benjamin. They're making war against everybody else on the east side of the Jordan, Gad and Reuben and the half-tribe of Manasseh. The Ammonites, these would be the children of Lot, the Ammonites, meaning those that dwell in darkness. Now they've been fighting against them, and the leaders of Gilead have went together in the last verse of chapter 10, and they're looking for said who will come up and fight against these children of Ammon. So the story's picking up in around that time. Verse 1, Now Jephthah the Gileadite was a mighty man of valor, and he was the son of a harlot, and Gilead begat Jephthah. Now Jephthah means he that opens. And the Gileadite, of course, is this place of stones that Jacob and Laban set up to be a witness. So these stones of witness. And we notice here that he is born of a harlot. And this harlot could be a prostitute, and it could be a woman who is of the children of Israel, who has went and worshipped after other gods. This would be considered a harlot. And we'll notice that Jephthah's father's name is Gilead, as well as being from this area of Gilead. So, verse 2, And Gilead's wife bore him sons, and when his wife's sons grew up, they drove out Jephthah, and said unto him, You shall not inherit our father's house, for you art the son of another woman. So we find that Jephthah's wife, he had a wife, and he had went out and had an affair with a harlot, and she had bore him a son, and his name would be Jephthah, the one who opens. Now, he and his other sons, the one of his wife, drove Jephthah out and said, "You're not going to have any part in our father's house because you are the son of another woman, or the son of this harlot." Verse 3, Then Jephthah fled from his brethren and dwelt in the land of Tob. And there were gathered vain fellows to Jephthah, and they went out with him. And Tob means good. Tov is the word for good. And there were gathered vain fellows with Jephthah. These vain fellows are those that are up to no good. And they went out with him, so he was keeping bad company with these men of goodness, this city of good. And it came to pass after a while that the children of Ammon made war against Israel. And this would be those that we was talking about. They actually come down to fight against them now at this point. Verse 5, And it was so, Ammon being the children of darkness, and it was so that when the children of Ammon made war against Israel, the elders of Gilead went to fetch Jephthah out of the land of Tob. So, like where the last chapter left us off, these elders of the city of Gilead have now been considered. Where shall one be found to fight for us? Who will now go out and fight these children of Ammon now? Who will go out and fight these children of darkness? There was no man found. So they've considered to themselves now, and they've said, "Hey, how about Jephthah, the son of this harlot? He's over there in Tob hanging out with these bad guys. Let's go get Jephthah, the one who opens." Verse 6, And they said unto Jephthah, Come and be our chief, that we might fight with the children of Ammon. So they went to Tob now, and they've come up to Jephthah, the one that opens, and they've said, "Hey, come on out. We're going to make you the boss if you will come out and fight with these children of Ammon." Verse 7, And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, Did not you hate me, and drive me out of my father's house? Why are you come unto me now when you are in distress? So he's saying, "Hey, you drove me out of there. Now you want my help because you're having some trouble." And the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, Therefore are we returned to you now, that you mayest go with us, and fight with the children of Ammon, and you shall be our head over all the inhabitants of Gilead. So they're saying to Jephthah, this is the reason we come to you, because we're in trouble. Now you come and go with us and fight against these children of darkness, and you shall be the head over all the inhabitants of Gilead, this place, of the witnessing of stones. So now they've told Jephthah, this is the reason we've come for you, because you got the power and you can do it. And Jephthah said unto the elders of Gilead, If you bring me back home to fight with the children of Ammon, and the Lord deliver them for me, I will be your head. And this is what he's saying. He says, now you're saying, if I go back and fight these before you, that you're going to make me the boss. And verse 10, the elders of Gilead said unto Jephthah, The Lord shall be a witness between us. Surely according to your words, so will we do. So we see they saying, the Lord's our witness. Surely, just like you said, hey, you will be our boss. You will be our head. They're going to make him almost king over, but just the area of Gilead. And this is a representation of this one who opens. They're going to make a deal with him. God commanded that they shouldn't make deals with the inhabitants, but now they're going to go down and they're going to make a deal with Jephthah, this one who opens, and they're going to make him their head if he'll come down and fight these children of darkness. 11. Then Jephthah went with the elders of Gilead, and the people made him head and chief over them. And Jephthah spoke all the words before the Lord in Mizpah. And Mizpah is the watchtower, the place of watching, this place where they watch in Gilead, this place of witnesses of stones. This is where he speaks all these words. He says, they said they'll make me king if I go down and fight these children of darkness. So God's their witness. They spoke these words, and so it is. Verse 12, And Jephthah sent messengers unto the king of Ammon, saying, Why have you to do with me, that you art come unto me to fight against my land? So he sent his little messengers, probably some of these vain fellows that have been hanging out with him, over to the children of Ammon, these children of darkness. And he said, What's your problem? Why are you come against my land? And the king of the children of Ammon answered, verse 13, unto the messengers of Jephthah, Because Israel took away my land, when he came up out of Egypt, from the Arnon even to the Jabbok, and unto the Jordan. Now therefore restore these cities peacefully. And basically the king of Ammon is laying a fictitious claim to some land that wasn't his in the first place. And he sends these messengers who Jephthah has sent to him back with these words. Of course, we know that this was the land of the Amorites, as we're getting ready to find out. And Jephthah, 14, Jephthah sent messengers again unto the king of the children of Ammon. For the second time now he's going to send men back. And he said unto them, Thus saith Jephthah, Israel took not away the land of Moab, nor the land of the children of Ammon. So we've not come near these two borders of these lands of Moab or Ammon, these children of Lot, because God commanded them not to, if we'll remember. Verse 16, But when they came up from Egypt, and Israel walked through the wilderness unto the Red Sea, and came to Kadesh. So when Israel came from Egypt, out of this land of enclosures, and they walked through the wilderness, and this wilderness means place where words drive out, unto the Red Sea. And we remember the Red Sea, this sea of reeds, even the sea of papyrus, that the words of men would be written on. And even when they came to these, this great sea of words, and came to Kadesh, this holy place, this place sanctified, this place set aside. 17, Then Israel sent messengers unto the king of Edom, saying, Let me, I pray you, pass through your land. But the king of Edom hearkened not. And in like manner he sent unto the king of Moab, but he would not. And Israel abode in Kadesh. And we'll remember this is exactly what happened. They sent words asking for the Edom, the sons of Esau, if they could go through there. And they wouldn't let them. So they sent words to Edom, and they wouldn't let them go through. And they stayed there and waited in Kadesh until God gave them word. Then he walked through the wilderness, verse 18, this place where words drove out. Because, see, Edom, it means red, and is in reference to Adam, man, mankind. In like manner, he sent to the king of Moab as well. And Moab means like his father, or like Lot, this incestual one. But he would not. They walked through the wilderness, verse 18, and compassed the land of Edom. They went around Edom and the land of Moab, and they came by the east of the land of Moab, and they pitched on the other side of the Arnon. But they came not within the border of Moab, for the Arnon was the border of Moab. And we find this is exactly what they do. And they came up on the north side of the Arnon in the Aurora Valley. And the Arnon means these waters, these rushing waters that overcome. Verse 19, And Israel sent messengers unto Sihon, the king of the Amorites, the king of Heshbon. And Israel said unto him, Let us pass, we pray you, through your land unto my place. And we'll remember this is what Israel did. They asked Sihon, Hey, let us just go through. We want to go through by the highway way, and we'll buy bread and water and whatever we have to get through. But just let us pass through. We're going over here to the other side. And Sihon, we remember, it means warrior. Heshbon is this stronghold of reckoning. And actually, what stronghold of reckoning means a place where you could think for yourself. And Sihon was the king of the Amorites. The Amorites being those who are the enchanters. So he was the king, this warrior of those enchanters who ruled over the place where you could think for yourself. And Israel said unto him, Let us pass, we pray you, through your land to our place. But Sihon, this warrior over those, trusted not Israel to pass through his border. But Sihon gathered all his people together and pitched in Jahaz to fight against Israel. And we'll remember that is the place that is trodden down, this place that troddens down. 21, and the Lord, the God of Israel, delivered Sihon and all his people into the hand of Israel, and they smote them. So Israel possessed all the land of the Amorites, the inhabitants of that country. And this would be the king Sihon, one of the kings on the east of the Jordan that Moses would deliver up before Israel. And verse 22, and they passed all the border of the Amorites from the Arnon even unto the Jabbok, and from the wilderness even unto the Jordan. And that's what Jephthah's saying, telling these messengers, or telling this king of Ammon, this is how we got this land. God delivered these kings into our hand, and we possessed all the border of the Amorites from the Arnon unto the Jabbok. And the Arnon, remember, is these rushing waters that overcome, and the Jabbok means the emptying out, or the emptying out of. And they, verse 23, so now the Lord, the God of Israel, hath dispossessed the Amorites from before his people, Israel. And shouldest you possess them? And we'll find that this is what God did. He dispossessed the Amorites. He delivered the two king of the Amorites up into the children of Israel's hand. This wasn't Ammon's land. God commanded them not to come near Ammon's land, or the Moab, or Edom, because he had given this land to them for other purpose, for a later sign, and we see it rearing its little head. Now the Lord, the God of Israel, hath dispossessed the Amorites from before his people, Israel, and shouldest you possess them? He says, now God's give us this land. Are you the one that should take this land from us? Verse 24, will you possess that which Chemosh, your God, gives you to possess? So whomsoever the Lord our God has dispossessed from before us, them will we possess. So what he's saying to Ammon, now you let your God give you land to possess. Our God has give us this land to possess. And Chemosh was this god that the children of Ammon, this children of darkness, worship. And Chemosh was means subduer. He was the subduer. And this, we see, does tie into this story, and so much that these rituals which they would do with Chemosh. Verse 25, and now art you anything better than Balak, the son of Zippor, king of Moab? Did he ever strive against Israel, or did he ever fight against them? And we'll remember Balak, the destroyer, the son of Zippor, this creature of the air. And he was the king of Moab at that time. And he fought with Israel. He hired Balaam, the false prophet, to come out against them. 26, while Israel dwelt in Heshbon, and in its towns, and Aroer, and its towns, and all the cities that are along the side of the Arnon, for 300 years. Why did you not recover them within that time? He says, you waited 300 years now. You're trying to come out and say you own this city, that we haven't forgot about this. We haven't forgot about this. While we were dwelling in Heshbon, in the stronghold, this place where you think for yourself, from the Aroer, these ruins and these of desolation, to the sides, by the side of the Arnon, these waters that overcome, for 300 years. Why didn't you try to take these cities during this time? 27, I therefore have not sinned against you, but you doest me wrong to war against me. The Lord, the judge, be judged this day between the children of Israel and the children of Ammon. And what Jephthah's saying is that, hey, now God, I haven't done nothing against you, but you are coming against me. Because God's commanded us not to come against these children of darkness. We've been told not to come against you. But you have now come against me. And God's going to be the judge between us this day. 28. However, the king of the children of Ammon hearkened not unto the words of Jephthah, which he sent him. So the king of Ammon didn't care what God said. He didn't care about this agreement that God had made with the children of Israel, whom Jephthah was trying to honor. He was trying to keep up this deal. But the children of Ammon won't listen. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Jephthah, and he passed over Gilead and Manasseh, and passed over Mizpah of Gilead. And from Mizpah of Gilead he passed over unto the children of Ammon. So we're going to see that Jephthah, this one that opens, he's moving. He's passed right over Gilead. He's passed over this witness of stones. He's passed over Manasseh, this place that causes you to forget. And he's passed over Mizpah, this watchtower of Gilead. And from this watchtower of Gilead, he passed over right unto the children of Ammon. He's come right into their own land. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord, and said, if you will indeed deliver the children of Ammon into my hand. So we're going to find out that Jephthah was looking for a little more confidence, something from God. And he's going to make a vow to God. And when you make a vow to God, you have to fulfill what you do. You say. There's nothing that says you have to make a vow to God. But when you open your mouth and make a vow, you will fulfill that vow. And we'll find out that these would be the prophecies of the end. They will fulfill these vows, because this is what they've done. And said, if you will indeed deliver the children of Ammon into my hand. And that's what he's saying. If you, the Lord, will deliver these up, and all we already know, if we just are obedient to God's law, if we obedient, God will go before us anyway. And we'll find out that's what they should have stood on, instead of falling back on trying to make a vow and then fulfill it with their own mouth. It's going to backfire. Then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me, when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, it shall be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. And this would be the vow that he would make. Whatever comes forth from his house, he made his vow that he will offer it up for a burnt offering. Now Jephthah was thinking he'd go home and maybe a goat would run out, or one of the baby sheep, or something like this, or even a servant or something, but he never thought what was going to happen. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hand. And we're going to find out this one who opened did cross over, and he fought with the children of darkness. And God did deliver the children of darkness into his hand. And he smote them from Aroer, these ruins of desolation. Verse 33, until you come to Men Neath, even 20 cities, and unto Baal Keramim, with a very great slaughter. So the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And this Abel Keramim is the meadow of gardens, or a meadow of vineyards. And Menenith is to divide this portion, as even if you would pull a string across it to divide it up to make very straight the rows of this garden, this meadow of gardens, to pull a string across it and divide it up to make it very straight your lines for planting. So the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And these children of darkness, once again, would fall at this place. 34, and Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house. And Mizpah, once again, is this watchtower. Jephthah, the one who opens. And behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances. And she was his only child. Besides her, he had neither son nor daughter. And we'll find out that this daughter comes out dancing and with timbrels before Jephthah, this one who opens as he returns. This daughter being the symbolism of the one who come from Jephthah, the one who opened, the feminine, this daughter child, and he didn't have any other children besides her. 35, and it came to pass when he saw her that he rent his clothes, and he said, Alas, my daughter, you have brought me very low, and you art become my troubler. For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. And now Jephthah remembers his vow that he has made to God, what he has promised to do, and he has rent his clothes, showing his great disgust. And alas, he's all but died. You have brought me very low, and you are become my troubler. And this would be what the one who comes from the one who opens would become to him, a troubler. And he says, I've opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. He's done made this deal, which he should have never said nothing in the first place, but he has opened his mouth, and God has delivered the children of darkness into his hand, and now he has to fulfill his vow. God never would require this at the hand of anyone. This is not something that God requires. This is not something that God would ever do. If Japheth would have just give his vow up at this point, all would have been well. All would have been well. For there is no place where it is written that God would ever require this of the hand of any man. But we would find that this would be the tie between Chemosh and this deed, this causing to pass through the fire, so to speak, this one who would open and cause to pass through the fire his children. See, that is who his Jephthah is. And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone for 2 months, that I may depart and go down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity, and I and my companions. So she says, this is good, this is all right with me, but let me go now for this period of time and cry for my virginity, me and my companions. And she's talking about her friends, who would be her friends in this, and she is a virgin child. This would be necessary for this to come about, that she has no children. She has not borne any children. And this would be the only child of the one who opens. 38. And he said, Go, and he sent her away for 2 months. And she departed, she and her companions, and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And this, once again, he's saying, Go and do this thing for this period of 2 months. And the moon rules the months, this lesser light, this light of darkness, this lesser light that God give to rule the darkness. This period of 2 months, even these 2 periods of darkness. 39. And it came to pass at the end of these 2 months that she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow which he had vowed. And she had not known man, and it was a custom in Israel. Verse 40. That the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah, the Gileadite, 4 days in a year. And we will find here this period of 2 months, these 2 periods of darkness, where the lesser right would rule, being the sacrifice that the one who opens would have to make for the vow that he had made, so that he could overcome the children of darkness. Would become a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel would go out yearly to cry for the daughter of Jephthah, who I have not yet found the name of this girl, this daughter, the Gileadite, for 4 days in a year. And we notice they would go out for 4 days. And this would be these 4 periods of time, these 4 circles, these 4 cycles that we're going to find out by the prophet later on. This story has a higher understanding, but in no way should we ever think that God in any way had anything to do with a human sacrifice, for this would never be required at the hand of God. God should in no way make a sacrifice of any human. This is that which God forbid, that you should cause your children to pass through the fire. And this was the custom of those of the children of Ammon, these children of darkness, that Jephthah, even was the one who opens, was sent to overcome. Great similitude, great symbology to the one who understands. We're going to move forward to chapter 12.